What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Runners Club podcast, back for another one. And we have a good conversation ahead. But first of all, I'm your co-host, Courtney Phillips. That is Ian Gonzalez. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling real good. I mean, it's been a really smooth morning. Late nights, early mornings. Karen is going away to what do you call it? A job retreat situation. She's gone for like a week and a half, but she is on your side.
And so, on the West Coast.
Yeah, on the West Coast, and so the time difference is crazy. So she'd be calling me after you done with dinner, after you done hanging out, and it's a decent hour.
Yeah.
It's 11:30 here, and I'd be on the phone dying. Cause she didn't train me. I go to sleep mad early now. She's got my schedule regulated by 9:30. I am yawning so hard, but I'm fighting this to hang out with her. So it kind of feels like the party day. Just up late at night, up fresh early in the morning.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, let's get into it. I don't even think we're gonna have time today to really get into ourselves because we got a couple things planned. But why don't we let in our guests today? Do you have any things you want to say before we let them in?
No, let's go. Let's get them in.
Okay, lit.
Yo, okay, so we back. We're here. You feel me? Got one of my most exciting interviews right here. Listen, I don't care how long we talk about this. TSP was a moment. And who we have on the episode today is Malcolm and Will. And Malcolm created so many moments throughout that moment. And it's beautiful. I'm excited to have you here to share your story with us, share your journey with us. Thank you, Will. Will was on Malcolm's team. Shouts out to you for joining us and giving us your POV from being support and doing the photography and catching all of these moments. You feel me? Welcome to have y'all. Let's go with Malcolm. Malcolm, go ahead and introduce yourself first.
So my name is Malcolm Ebanks. So I live and reside in the Bronx. So big up, big X. I work as a counselor for higher education. I have 2 kids, and I'm a Black man.
I love it. I didn't even know you was a dad, bro. I ain't even.
They grown. It's past that. They grown.
Okay. Oh, so Will, let them know who you are.
What up? This is Will Pierce. Originally born and raised in Queens, live in Harlem now, and running, and also a Black man. I appreciate y'all reaching out and having me and having us here.
Amazing.
Is I'm a Black man a new pronoun? Can we just go with that? Can I just identify as that?
Yeah. On my Zoom profile, it says Black man, he, him.
I feel like it's fitting and necessary, especially since we're on a podcast. I mean, people will see it via YouTube, but you got to let people know immediately where the context is coming from. So I respect it. I know for me personally, I ran into Will and Malcolm a couple times. The first time I met you guys was at the Bandit activation. They had popped up in LA right before the LA Marathon, and I saw you guys at the Shakeout. Didn't even realize that you guys were also running the LA Marathon, which I mean was hilarious for me because I feel like y'all showed up late, which is cool. It's fine. I get it. Y'all just do what you want to do. But then I'm in, I don't know, Beverly Hills at the time and more than halfway through the race. And all of a sudden I see you two just trotting past me and I'm like, okay, they're having a good time. So was that the plan? Were you planning on running LA or did you come out just to run TSP?
Well, I'll let you go first with your story.
Okay. Well, Malcolm and I, just to give a brief backstory, I've known Malcolm for about a year, and we literally met on the course of the Boston Marathon last year.
Wow.
And like you've known about Malcolm, or people know about Malcolm in the TSP effort, but I hadn't met him. So anyway, so that's where we met, and since then we've been running together, vibing. And he asked me to join the TSP team. I said, without a doubt. So we're in LA and we're active. We're active, like you said. We were. I feel like we were everywhere. We even snuck, pulled up on Take the Bridge the day before.
Oh, I saw that.
And so anyway, we're in LA, and then Malcolm's like, I guess I missed the meeting, or I missed a call where he said he was running the LA Marathon. And so he's like, yeah, mad casual, like, and I'm like, yo, I had FOMO instantly. I'm like, yo, how you gonna run the LA Marathon and not tell me? And I'm not gonna run the LA Marathon too, So I think it was the day before the marathon, and just kind of put out the energy that I wanted to run. And I think 10:30 that night before the LA Marathon, I got a bib to also run the marathon. So and I was like, I guess careful what you ask the universe for, because the universe will provide, and you got to be, you got to show up and be ready. So Malcolm knew he was running the marathon. I didn't, but the universe knew, and it was one of the best marathons I've ever run. So anyway, that's how I got there.
And
wild, like that.
And shout out to Rob Perez, his dad, the bib. So the funny thing was, I thought Will was trying to go want to get some weed. The way he was driving, I was like, where we going, Will? It wasn't until the last moment he told me that we going to get this bib.
Oh. So you literally went and got a physical bib from somebody who like decided they weren't going to run? Is that what happened?
That's what we were at the Bandit party.
Okay.
At the pop-up, and we were and from there, Rob, shout out to Rob and shout out to his dad. His dad was in town, wasn't going to run the marathon because of an injury that he had, and he was like, I'm not going to do it. And he's like, I want it to go to good use. So I was like, sure. I mean, I probably would have ran it anyway without the bib.
Right.
Come to find out, like, that's how LA gets down. Like, I was so super surprised. Like,
really?
It was super chill for people to jump in the race.
Not all paces welcome in the marathon.
Yeah. And I was like, yo, I love this. I dig it. And it was super fun to one. And people might get on me for saying this, but not planning to do a marathon, but to do one and actually like have fun without the expectation. And the only expectation, at least for me, was to have fun and to kind of test out, the pacing schedule that Malcolm was going to do. So it ended up being the TSP shakeout is how we called it.
Love it.
6.2-mile shakeout for a 340-mile run.
Right.
There we go.
Okay, so Malcolm, Will, I'm glad you mentioned a little bit of how you guys met. Meeting at Boston is always really interesting. I mean, I personally haven't been, but it just seems like it's a combination of a lot of different just people. But then as Black men, like you guys pointed out in the beginning, I'm sure you guys spotted each other out and, probably like gravitated towards each other. So like, since that year of knowing each other, at what point did it become a friendship? At what point did it become like, okay, let's do this TSP thing together? Or was it very much like kind of last minute? I'll start with go ahead, Will.
No, I was just gonna say, I think it was the time we first got like patties together. That's when we gelled as friends. When we got patties and cocoa bread, I think that was the moment. But I don't know, Malcolm, what do you think?
I think patties would do it. Yeah.
So
it was patties.
Jamaican patties in New York, I'm assuming?
No, I know. Real talk, I think it was actually the Boston Marathon. I mean, us running the first half of it together, me knowing that he was representing Queens. Maybe if he was somewhere else, I'd be like, he's from LA, maybe. But he was from New York. I was like, he's from Queens, let's run together. So I think in that way, running the first 13 miles together, and we were vibing too. We were just talking and chilling and having a great time.
For me,
I think from then, I was like, that's the guy I want to vibe with every day and every chance I get.
Mm.
Oh.
You're right.
Oh. Yo,
Uh,
feeling was mutual, man. Feeling was
Because
mutual.
LA was I can't express my gratitude to Will in terms of how I felt during LA.
Mm.
He drove me around. He took me anywhere I wanted to go to. We went to Compton. We got out.
Okay. So y'all had a good time. I mean, there's so many nuggets of places that we could go with this conversation. I want to get to TSP eventually, but I am still very curious about one, why did you only run 13 miles together at Boston?
Okay. So I got a complimentary bib that
Okay.
year. Will, did you get one too? Was it complimentary?
It wasn't complimentary. I got a bib. It was last minute through like a company. So sort of. Yeah. It was like 4 weeks before the marathon.
Ever getting free bibs. Okay, so I think I was in the village and I was just talking too much in the village and not realizing it was getting slower and slower as time goes on. So once when I started, they might have been running maybe 10-minute miles. And so we had to swerve and do this like kind of dance for 13 miles. And then it opened up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I went to the bathroom. I think I might have lost Will. And that's, I think, how we ran 13 miles together.
Okay. So it was just like a natural, we're running together, but then ultimately you were running your own races and you had just met each other.
Yeah, I wasn't racing. I was just running.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. I mean, okay. So then in LA, you hopped in to take the bridge. What was that like, Malcolm? Like, was that also was part of the plan? Was that also last minute? What's going on?
Well, part of my plan, I don't think it was part of my team's plan, but it was part of my plan to do that and also do LA. I mean, I did these things last year. It was that I was on Instagram and I was like undercover. So I ran 20 miles before on a Sunday. I just tend to run and keep running until TSP is over.
Mm. And you've always been a runner.
I ran in high school and then stopped running and then picked it up maybe 13, 14 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
And so Take the Bridge was amazing. Enjoyed that. Will have me running too fast. And that was great. But it was beautiful because the whole weekend was great. Then we met someone from Compton. And then we went to Compton, did a shakeout run there, and was like blessed with love and like energy. I mean, I can't say how like happy and how appreciative I am of like the love we got in LA that weekend. You know, people showed us around like Lawrence. And so we wanted to do the right thing in LA. It was great. Had a whole bunch of conversations about do the right thing. He gave us a tour. He DJ'd for me. I mean, so the love was real out there. So I appreciated the energy.
Yo, that's smooth. That's smooth. I do feel like, I first met Malcolm after the Toronto marathon. You know, fam was just busting moves all night. I feel like Malcolm makes friends the same way my 5-year-old makes friends. It's just eye contact. We doing the same thing. We buddies. Let's go.
Yeah, I think that's what running affords us is a space, right, to do that.
Yeah. So then Malcolm, so you ran in high school. Was it like, and you picked it up 13 years ago. So there was a big time frame where you were not really running.
Yes.
Do you like, and what I would like to know about that is like, okay, so within that 13-year span, it sounds like you've ran a lot of marathons.
Nope. I think so the funny thing is the 2 marathons that I have run, I have really ran with Will. Boston and LA.
Okay.
And that's what we kind of picked up on. So I'm not a marathoner. I'm not an ultra runner.
Okay.
I can just run certain distances when I choose to.
Okay. So when you were in high school, what were you doing?
Oh, the mile. Let's get that mile. The mile was the thing.
Okay.
Yeah. 4:20, fastest time.
That's major. That's
a little bit of heat. Not too much.
Just a tiny bit. And then what was keeping you athletically fit in between the time of like not running and then starting to run again 13 years ago? And like, and then when you started running, again, what was your cadence or like your pattern as far as like getting to those miles? Because you're saying like on a weekend you can run 20 miles. How did you get there?
Okay, so when I started running again, it was because I took a couple of students rock climbing or bouldering indoors, and I
Mhm.
was like, this is just too hard. I shouldn't be breathing like this. I shouldn't be like tapped out. And I was tapped out. And so for me, I think running is like the easiest access into fitness. So I started running, and I would run around the block where I live in my jeans. 'Cause I had no sportswear. Wasn't going to wait for that. I had some old winter jeans. It was winter, and it kind of worked out that they actually were like literally the best pant to wear in winter was a pair of jeans and some sneakers. And I just did blocks. So maybe 4 blocks, then 8 blocks, then 10 blocks, and then built up from there.
Okay.
And then what kept me physically fit in that space is running after my damn kids. Kids will make you fit.
I I concur. I agree with that. Chasing down 5-year-olds, picking them up, doing airplanes. This is all fitness class, right?
Yeah, going
All
to the park.
compound.
Yeah,
Yeah.
going to the park, doing everything you have to do. Yes.
Uh,
Yeah. So that's what kept me kind of fit. I mean, but I wasn't fit the way I am now. Like
okay.
running causes me to do yoga, go to the gym, do all kind of different things.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I'm very surprised to hear that you take. If I heard clearly, you've only done 2 marathons so far. What's been your distance then? Like what races do you normally gravitate to?
I don't run and race that much. So if people know me, they know that I hate racing. And I hate paying for
Okay.
races, and I hate, the whole idea that you have to pay to run.
Yeah, I'm so accustomed, especially when I'm meeting and hearing about runners, when their reputation like definitely precedes them, is usually based around speed. It's usually based around what races they gotten into and what marathons they gotten into. And like I hear Malcolm is a legend. Like that's what I hear across the board in the running community as I become more exposed to it nationally and internationally. And it's like, so I guess for me, like, how did you find your way into like this run club community, this run club scene and stuff like that? How are you able to like just be known by everybody, and be a friend to a lot of people?
Well, one, I don't think I am a legend. I don't know what that even means. It kind of annoys me when people say that. I'm like, what does that even mean? So when you press people, what does that mean? They can't
It
answer
means
that.
you bring good energy and good vibes. Like everybody
So,
is happy
You're
to have you
inspiring.
around. Right.
so if we go by your definition, yes, we vibe. So Will can attest that we vibe with any chance we can get. Why not? Life is already hard enough. Why come to running with attitude? And I'm not cliquish. I think that's one thing. I am not cliquish. Like
Mm.
Ian, so we met at Toronto, and I met before that because I actually took your picture of your crew.
Oh yeah, you at the snake run.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
He
so
just took the phone
like
out my hand. Like I don't even think he asked me. He's like, give me that. And just snapped the pic.
because y'all was looking real good, I was just like, whoa, I gotta catch this moment. So I think it's just that I just like use the space for what it is, which is to like make friends and build relationships. I think
Yeah.
that's what running affords us. Why go into that space with the attitude and
Yeah.
and being nasty or cliquish?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate how available you are and stuff. Like that's how I feel like listening to your story between you and Will, like that's what it comes from being available, being open, and just enjoying the sport with people. Will, like kind of like a similar question for you. Into the sport? Is it racing? Is it the community? Have you found yourself? How have you discovered this community and gotten yourself into it?
Well, I mean, I, I ran in high school as well, to track and then cross country. And kind of like Malcolm, like after high school, took like a huge break. And then again, I think what got me back into like, running and distance running was community. Like I have a group of friends who I was just, we would hang out on Sunday and, eat dinner or brunch or whatever. And like, common crew. And then they just signed up for a race and they were like, hey, brunch this week gonna be late. So cause we gotta run. And I was like, yo, bet. I'll just run with y'all because why not? So it was community. It wasn't necessarily it was a race. It was because I used to run and my friends are running. So let me get back to that. And like I found through running, like, which I'm sure a lot of people have noted and they benefited from, it's community. You can kind of pull up to any city, anywhere. And if there's a run crew, you could pull up and kind of feel welcome because you're of the same tribe, the same language and some, the terminology and all that stuff. But the experience of putting in miles. And like I think that's something that, in a lot of ways just bonds people. And that's what I keep coming back for. Yeah, I race because I like to set goals and push myself. But like when LA Marathon was so fun because like it was just about having fun and being out there and not about putting this pressure on myself. So, it doesn't always have to be about times or speed. And, runners come in all shapes and forms and paces. And, at any point you could just vibe with somebody. And I think that's just really what it is, that energy, that vibe.
Yeah. Let me ask you a quick question because I feel like so many young Black athletes who are running, kind of these shorter distances. I don't know. I don't know the terminology for track too well because I was definitely not a high school collegiate athlete. But I feel like there is that after you leave college, running just kind of like has a hard stop, right? And I mean, when you got into just road running, was there a complete change in athleticism for you? Was there a complete change in the relationship to running? Because I'm assuming I hear colleges, high school and college is very competitive, very like hit these times, do this, do that, and cannot. I've heard a lot of athletes say they didn't enjoy running when they was doing it for school. So did you find that to be your experience? And then if so, how did that change coming into road running with the community?
Me personally, listen, I got into track in high school because I was chasing a girl. Like, I'm gonna keep it 100. Like, there was a girl that I liked and she ran track. And I was just like, I can run, so I'm gonna run track. And then, within that, beyond that, I mean, like, that's our first piece of a community. She ended up being my high school sweetheart, but like, then she ran cross country. So like, I'm all right, I'm gonna run cross country too. But by that point, it was already like a family. Like, the track team was fam. Like, it was tough. Coach was hard on us, but we were in that like together. So I think, looking back, it was always about community and connecting with people. Like, as far as like what brought me into it, like, I didn't do it in college because I think I was scared of like the waking up at 3 a.m. to like run. I was like, yo, I want to enjoy a different kind of college experience. So looking back on it, kind of wish maybe I did, keep it going because that just would have been like a different community, I think. But like, no regrets. I'm glad that, I came back to it or it came to me when it did. So I'm able to meet people like Malcolm, like you, and running is the reason why I think, why we had such an amazing time in Los Angeles right before the marathon, because the community, anytime there's a marathon, the activations are amazing. Like, people are out, there's a buzz in the air. Like, sometimes you just want to go just be around that energy, even though I'm not running. So it's really about the energy in the community.
And you also have your own run crew in Queens, correct? Run.
Absolutely. Yeah, Run Hustle Run. I'm a co-founder with my boy Charlie. And again, there was nothing out there in the space where black and brown people in Jamaica, Queens, were doing that. And, there was no run crews out there at the time. So we were like, yo, we're just going to show up. And our whole thing has been about building community. And, you start out, it was Charlie, myself, and my boy Jason, who I ran cross country with in high school. I hadn't spoke to him in forever, but like running kind of brought us back to where we're closer now than we were before. And we started this movement of, moving our bodies. And we showed up on a cold Tuesday night, February, and before you knew it, other people kept showing up with us. And like, it was amazing. And we would pinch ourselves and be like, yo, look at this. Look at these people out here running in the cold. Like, this is crazy. But it was more than just the miles. It was like the community behind it. And now we're family. Like, people I wouldn't have known again. Like, they're like fam. And we've traveled and done runs together and pushed each other outside of running, because I think that's what community is about.
So with all of that known now, with all of this back information known, I want to bring us back to TSP because first of all, Malcolm, you ran this solo, and I just want to make sure that everyone will know just probably by the name of what we titled this podcast episode. But, but is this the second time you ran TSP solo?
It is.
Okay. So the first year, I'm assuming a lot was learned. This year, I heard that you wanted to be pushed to your limit. This is what I heard from Gemma, Gemma was going to join us today, but she couldn't. And so I just want, what was the frame of mind of going from last year? And please share whatever you want to share from last year, but into this year and why you decided to do it again.
One, I think that was Gemma's interpretation.
Okay.
That she wanted to push me. It wasn't. I don't think that was mine. But okay, yeah, I'll take that. No, she had a plan. And again, like I trusted Vivian from last year, and whoever is in charge of your pacing, you have to trust. So I just trust her in that way. And it's kind of weird because I didn't know Gemma or any of the crew that much before this. I knew Will, but not in this kind of environment. So I think just having the trust, like Gemma's saying, you're going to run this much, this far, this fast, just made it happen. So yeah, I think Gemma had the idea of us finishing 30 hours earlier, which we did do.
30 hours earlier than previous.
Yes. So last year we ended on Saturday, which is the best time to end, really, because there's so much hype because all the relay teams are coming in.
Yeah.
So people were hitting me up, thought I won because of how active and how great it looked. Yo, dude, you won this thing? I was like, no, I came in last. But it was great because Saturday is the time the relay teams come in. So what I learned from last year and this year, it was just different. I can't say I learned much. It's just different. This year was totally different. Last year, I did really enjoy the route. It was more scenic. This year, it was a little bit more challenging. We're going through these small towns, and yeah.
Yeah, we did an episode about TSP a couple episodes ago, and really got into that. And in that part of my thinking through that, it was also just I can't even imagine what it would have been like to just be by yourself with a crew, but by yourself. I know there is one runner who runs without a crew and he carries his water with him and all that stuff, which is also that's a whole different situation. But yeah, I can imagine with this being pushed and getting under shaving off 30 hours of last year. That's insane. And not insane. It's a feat. I'll say that. And for you, Will, were you pacing? Were you taking photography? What was your part in this year?
First, I helped on developing or plotting out the route.
Okay.
Worked closely with Gemma as far as pacing, and then that kind of, let us know where we kind of would be stopping for the nights and food and that kind of thing. Ran a little bit also as well with him, was on bike with him, drove the Jeep. And I think also, which is a crucial part, was just try to keep the energy up, try to keep the vibes up. I went and bought cactuses for the van, just some ambiance, I think that all of these things came together. I feel like everybody wore many hats throughout it. So it wasn't just me. Sometimes, you got to jump in and drive. Sometimes, have to like help stretch Malcolm out. So it was like whatever needed to be done. I feel like everybody was there and available to step up to like, we had one goal, and it was awesome that we were all working towards this one goal.
Can you tell us who was on the team? Will, like, in people's roles, either of you, just so, because like we have said Gemma, but then like even just letting us know like what people's roles were initially going into it, even though everyone was wearing many hats.
So I could do that. So I wanted to do that anyway. Because, like, for example, Gemma was like the pace master. I had like nicknames for all these people. They didn't know it, and I was cussing out Gemma all the time. But okay, Gemma was in charge of the pacing. We had Fiona, Master Chef. And the food that came out of that van was amazing. So I don't do trail mix. I don't do gels. I don't do any of that. I just eat real food. This is too far a distance to be eating kind of whatever. So we had real food. I had lunch, breakfast, and dinner and snacks. So Fiona, pick up yourself. It was amazing. Lulu, who was basically my health manager, made sure my feet weren't jacked up, made sure that I was like stretched out. Make sure that I clean my nose and my mouth and my glasses. Just make sure that I was really taken care of health-wise. And then we had the wild boy, Chef. Boy, he's an outdoor dude. Like, he would like run. And I appreciate him and his energy and him telling pit bulls to go to bed. Like, you would not imagine the boy courage. The courage is strong on Chef.
Yes.
It's amazing. And that's what I liked about this really so much, is that we had all these different people that didn't know each other. They had tasks. They did those tasks. But we gelled. And I became like friends now at the end of this. Well, did I miss someone? You.
You say Will?
I said Will, Gemma, Fiona, Lulu, and Chef. They're good.
Yeah. Okay.
And and so the way I imagined my team was that everyone had their task. And so there was food, there's wellness, there was health, there's pacing, there's Will did an amazing job. Like, imagine taking pictures while driving. Right? Imagine taking pictures while running and like doing all these things at the same. And the quality of the pictures, though, Will,
phenomenal.
Was phenomenal.
That's love. That's love. Yeah, shouts out to the runners / photographers of the world, the Jeremys and the Wills of the world. Jeremy on our team was like kind of like your counterpart. He was actually a runner, but still found time to catch beautiful shots of our entire team, our support crew, and stuff like that. Like, that's truly a gift and a talent. I think just speaks to you, Will, speaks to your commitment to the community that you find yourself in. Like, that's really dope to take up both of those responsibilities. So when we were at the pool party post race, there was just like this conversation. There was this thing floating around that said that Malcolm, like, you either did not know most of your team prior to, or you had a very minimal relationship with a lot of them, which I was really shocked to hear, because when we were putting together our team, we were really, really, really thinking about, like, we had a group of people that we wanted to like give back to and gave the club, a lot of love and a lot of volunteer work. We was also like, who's going to gel well together? Like, who do we know and who's going to feel right in the space?
I like it messy. I like it messy.
Yeah, can you talk through your selection a little bit? Maybe between y'all two, like, how did the ags go?
Well, I like it really messy. I really do. I'm not messy in the bad way, but one, I don't think I'm very social. I know you won't probably believe that. I really don't like people. I have a stink attitude. Like, I think my team probably can tell you all of that. It's probably true. You wouldn't believe it, but it is. The way I thought about it was, one, like, who's going to say yes to this? So when I hit up Will, I say, yo, Will, I want to do da-da-da-da. Will was like, yes. So people who ask me questions like, oh, when is it? How much is it going to cost? No, negative.
Negative.
I
mean, hindsight, I should probably have asked those questions, but I was just like, yeah.
And so the way I thought about it was like, I wanted to get at least one person from every borough of New York. So I think the only borough that we're missing is kind of Manhattan, I think.
Okay, so there was somewhat of a criteria. It had to be from New York.
Not really. I just figured like, let's just try to do that. It could have been somewhere else from somewhere else, but I think this meeting in person was like also crucial. Like the Zoom meetings weren't really working well for us because because the Zoom meetings and actually meeting in person was like good. I could see how you flow. Like, oh, she gonna get on my nerves. Okay, I see this, right? Like they're all upset with me because I didn't want anyone to run with me. They're like, dude, what do you mean? People would try to step out and like start running. I'm like, get back in the van. It was, it was crazy. I think at the end, Will did have enough courage to come out the van and start running with me. But yeah, I picked people who were motivated.
Mhm.
And to
I
your
love
point,
that.
to me, I think it's good not to be so insular in terms of the community. And I get your point, like having people come from other boroughs, now they can spread that word in their borough. Right? They can have people they know from their community say, hey, how was TSP? And start the whole conversation. And so in some way, it spreads that influence throughout like the whole community. And I'm sure if Will went back to like his crew, I'm sure he got drilled down 100 questions in terms of like, how was that experience?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think all of us on the team had that experience of being like, people were interested because, what Malcolm did, like, is no small feat, and again, as stated in the beginning, he's a Black man. So it's like, to have that representation out there, it was like, you kind of felt like all of New York was behind Malcolm, like, in a way, at least like, the people from who I've been in contact with, messaging me through Instagram, sending Mal love. It was really amazing to see. So it wasn't just, and I think that's why it was important that he did have New York representation from, most boroughs on the squad, because it was like, it was definitely felt. And like, you felt that energy and it was amazing.
Yo, like I love all of that. So I also want to like talk about the route a little bit, right? Like you you shave. How many hours did you say you shaved off now?
I think I don't remember. I don't even know. I think they said 30 hours.
30 hours. That's crazy. I mean, I know you was running multiple days. Y'all started on Tuesday, right?
We started on Monday.
Started on Monday and ran all the way to Saturday. And was able to shave.
No. I think so let me understand. So we started on Monday at 4 a.m. and we finished like Thursday, 2 o'clock, Will?
Yeah, 2 a.m.
Or like Friday morning, 2 a.m. kind of thing. And the previous year, I ended maybe, I think, noon-ish or 2 o'clock-ish on Saturday or something.
Okay, cool. Thanks for clearing that up. Got you.
So the route was shorter this year, I think, a little bit.
Was it because you took that power line situation?
It could have been that, but no, it's all Gemma's fault.
All Gemma's fault.
And I think she had me run. Well, if I'm wrong, Will, correct me. 149 miles the last day. Is that right, Will?
It was close to that, yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. So what were you normally running each day?
So we ran, I think, 80 miles the first day.
Okay.
And maybe 60 or 70 the second day. And then she's like, you're not sleeping until you finish the next day.
Because the idea was we wanted to clear power line and be in a good spot after that. Because just as far as like where the stops might have lined up, it would have been, it was a big effort. It was a big ask, but like we powered through the night. And I think that's what one of the main differences was. Sleeping in shifts and, as far as like driving responsibilities, but, running through power line, getting through that and, as much as we could in one shot without really like breaking down camp for the night or setting up camp for the night, I think was crucial.
Now,
and yeah, that was Gemma's fault. That was Gemma's fault.
For our listeners, though, like when we say power line, we're literally talking about you guys driving through these big power lines, and they just like run down. Because like some people have never been to the West Coast or like understand Southwest America and like understand just how like vast the space is out there, or just like these power lines just go on forever. But are you like running underneath them alongside? Like, what was that
Well,
like?
there's a service road that
Mhm.
runs like through power line, and it's not you can't call it a road.
Yeah.
It's
It's not
it was
a road. It's just like you need like have a 4-wheel drive vehicle,
Right.
and there's parts of it that's missing.
Yeah.
So it's, this is like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm giving directions like don't go this way because you'll fall off the cliff. Don't go that way, you'll like run into a hole. Will's probably saying, "What is he doing with his poles?" But
So y'all understand Malcolm's not only running, but like this is just how awesome I think Malcolm is, or how he thinks and like he cares for everyone. You know, he's out here running by himself, but he still has us in mind. So we're following him in the Jeep, and you know, he's pointing out ditches and big rocks for us to watch out for as well. So he's like our lead rusher, you know, clearing the way for us in that sense. So, you know, even though he's running, he has this on his mind too. It was like really total team effort. And because this was not a paved road, I want y'all to understand, like, you know, there were times where even the 4-wheel drive got a little, like, we had to do some creative maneuvering to like get through. There were times where, you know, somebody jumped out to move these large sized rocks out of the way so we could clear it. I'm glad we got the full coverage package of insurance on the Jeep as well. I'm just gonna say that because yeah, you didn't want to be out there in a Honda Accord or something like trying to go through what we were.
So did you
yeah.
take the or go ahead?
No, I was gonna say I want to put emphasis on this power line road situation because it's not just it's a choice. Okay, like this is
Mhm.
a pure decision. Okay, like you're running down this road that seems like it's just going straight for days, right? And it's black tar. It looks like the movie's got the little cracks in the road, and you can just go and you can just safely just run and you can run towards these snow-capped mountains that you will never ever actually reach the base of. And as you're running, there's this sharp right turn. And it's not like in a city where there's a curb and you get to make this right turn. There's no four-way stop or nothing. You just know that this is Power Line Road. And it's dirt. Like it's dirt and shrubs leading into like this small like hill, and the rest of the road is on the other side of this hill. You have to make this decision. You have to say no. I am not going to take the easy way. I am literally going to go in what may be hell for miles.
well,
I mean,
there
did you
was
take
some
pictures?
runners.
Will? Do you have
Yeah,
pictures of this road?
yeah, there were some runners that were on power line mode for the majority of the time.
Mm.
I think Lucy did how many miles? I think Jesus did a big, like maybe 100 miles, maybe on power line. Shout out to them for that.
Mm.
Yeah, yo,
But
big shout out to Lucy. Lucy was the winner for the women's the overall
I think she was
winner.
the
no.
overall winner.
Overall winner.
Yeah, she beat everybody.
And let's put this out. She clocked off 10 hours off the men record, like that means something, and 17 off the women. She came out here not playing. 504 in the house. They came out not playing at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put some respect on Lucy's name. She did the thing.
I think that's what we talk about this on the podcast a lot, where like distance running is the ultimate equalizer when it comes to women and men running. Because women will surprise and push forward. There's like a different type of endurance that I personally believe women have, that it's like it gets shown in these examples. So Malcolm, did you run the OG route last year?
No, we also cut. I mean, the OG route is 340 miles. And I think Crosby was the only person who did solo. Paul Crosby was the only person that did solo this year that did the OG route. So
Okay.
he's the first person to do that. That's 340 miles.
How many
And
miles? Oh, go ahead.
300, I think it was, plus last year, 298 this year.
Yeah. I mean, that's smart. Again,
Yeah,
for our listeners.
I don't know if it's smart.
Well,
There's an old Jamaican saying that shortcuts draw blood, and this shortcut did draw blood.
I can imagine.
It's difficult. It's not, the OG route is paved, so it's easier in a sense, but it's paved, and you unlike cement or concrete or asphalt the majority of the time. These routes, that power line is no joke. And shout out to the relay teams running on that. I don't know how you run 5 miles on that surface.
Wow. I mean, because again, it's not a road. It's not a road. And also, again, for our listeners, like, this is an unsanctioned race. You make your own route, clearly, right? You make a decision. You can go wherever you want to go. You could do the OG route, which is like nice and paved and like generally the easy way in the context of everything else. Still hard. I mean, it's still hard. It's a long distance relay. Okay. It's an ultra relay. So, so I guess when did you get into photography, and when did you decide like that was something that you wanted to like bring forward into opportunities like this?
I mean, I've been in photography since I was like really little, but like as far as like taking it, seeing that I can make money out of it, or a career, or that it was like actually a passion, not even money. It was just like something I would just love doing. That was like, it came in like high school, college, kind of that. And then came the part where it was like, oh, you can make money doing this as well. So it was kind of merging that. Originally I wasn't really into sports photography or any of that. It was just more about portraits and like stories. And then, I found running again, and I was like, why not merge the two passions in a way that I could to, tell this story about this world of running in the space of like New York City. And so that's why, Malcolm would let me know clear. He's like, yo, this photography is not the main thing I need you for. He was like, I need you to make this route and to like be responsible for these tasks that, everybody had. And he was just like, photography is like a secondary thing. So, first and foremost, it was making sure that, Malcolm was where he was supposed to be. And like, we had this goal. So like, that was first and foremost. But at the same time, it's like, I'm in a space that they were like, the majority of like Powerline and a lot of this, we didn't see anybody else. It was just our crew. We didn't see other cars, other people. It was rare. We saw some cows once, but I had to like, to describe this wouldn't do it justice. Like, I had to take pictures just to, one, document it for ourselves, but also to like let people understand, like, this is where we were. This is what we were into. And it was beautiful. Like, especially, I'm coming from Queens, New York, and like, there's buildings all around us. So just to be in a space where it's just like, it looks like you're almost on the moon or something like that, like just rocks and road. And like you said, these power line roads that just like go all the way down. I was a little nervous. I was like, should we be running with a tinfoil hat? Like, I don't know, like, is this going to microwave our brains?
Right.
Kind of thing. Like, should we be doing this? But it's beautiful. And like you said, for people who aren't like myself exposed to like this part of California, it's amazing. Like, this is really like, I felt privileged and honored to be able to like experience this, because like very few people do. So the photography was really a way just to report back to like, yo, this is where we were and what we were doing.
And did you so that last part, let me ask you if you had like a similar experience to me, because growing up in Chicago, growing up in a big city, I'm assuming you same way in New York, we used to seeing big structures. Like, doing buildings, downtowns are freaking gorgeous and humongous. It paled in comparison to the majesty that I felt from looking at mountains. Have you already been on the West Coast a lot, seen those a lot? Like, how did you feel running in this environment?
Well, I mean, I spent time in the West Coast, and, it took me a while to get it. I was like the typical New Yorker, like hating on the West Coast for no reason or whatever, but, saying whatever, LA, but like, when you really get time to like sit, be there and appreciate it, it's like, wait a minute, like you can understand. And the way I explain it to people is like, imagine you grow up, the sky is just huge. The sky is bigger in California because it's not obstructed by buildings. So I'm just thinking like, what does that do to people's frame of mind where there aren't these obstacles in the way, but you could just kind of see at certain points as far as the eye can see. Like you can see mountains, you can see the horizon. And it's just like, I feel like that has to do with the vibe of California in a way, the mindset, maybe I don't know how to really articulate it, but like, there is a difference. There's a difference between New Yorkers and people who are on the West Coast. It's very visible and you could tell. And so like being in that space, it was just like, it was open. Like, it just, the possibilities are open, your sight lines are open. And I think it plays a big part in what we were doing as well. Like we were out there in the wild open, and it was just like we made our own route. We're doing this thing unsanctioned. So it kind of all like came together in like these moments where you just realize like, yo, like this is us. This is all on us. And like we're doing it,
And I think that's probably the most powerful thing about TSP is that we are city dwellers. I'm not an ultra runner. No, I think the person who has the most experience is probably Gemma, right? And so imagine taking people from the city and putting them in the desert. And, just to see us like do what we have to do and like problem solve and get through it. I mean, and I think that's what pictures can't be captured is that the teamwork has to be on point. Like, whatever problems you have, you got to squash them because the desert will kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's no time to, there's an issue. We have to resolve that later because we got to keep on pushing. Right? I think, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, you said some, just the intensity of the desert last year was a lot hotter than this year. Like, what was that experience of like running?
So this year was so much different because we had snow, sleet, wind, everything you would not imagine. I bought, it's a funny joke. I bought like a frog suit from Amazon. It was like a $3.99 hunter suit. It came with the top and the bottom. Best purchase ever. That's why I wore the whole entire time because it rained a lot of times. And the wind itself was just moving me across it was intense.
Well, so, as a solo runner,
Good.
What?
I saw a picture of you in it. It looked like it was like powder blue or something.
Yeah, that's what I wore. That's what I was rocking the whole entire time because it was bad. It was bad. So yeah, and so wore that. So it was different. Last year wasn't so hot. I mean, people think it's hot. It wasn't crazily hot last year. This year was difficult because of the wind, rain, sleet, dogs, whatever else. Yeah, there's a lot of dogs out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you experienced all the rain and sleet because you left much earlier because all of the relay teams, we didn't get any of that. Because you were just out there for so much longer, experiencing so much other, different types of weather. So, I mean, that in and of itself was a different experience. Do you would you do it again? Are you thinking about doing it again?
Oh, it's already been done instead.
Oh, well, like you are?
At the pool party, it was decided already. What do you mean?
I mean, look, I wasn't there. I wasn't part of this conversation, so please enlighten me.
The pool party is where business happens, Hey. I think all the cool kids from the solo, but that means Lucy, everyone's going to do the OG route next year. So we're on the OG route next year, it looks like. So it's 340. Look how we're looking now. He's looking kind of crazy.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was sad. Now,
like what?
A lot of stuff can happen between then and now, so hopefully it will happen. But yes, 340. And we're going to try and go super fast.
Well, let's do it.
Yeah, but it seems like no matter what, they're going to do it the Malcolm way. Like you kind of set the precedent, kind of set the vibe, it seems like, with the way you go into it.
I think I do the least work during TSP. I think the crew is like what holds a solo runner down. And so all I do is just run, which I think is the easiest part of the whole thing.
And what do your kids think about all this?
My daughter's like, "You stupid." My son's like on his own planet. He don't even care. But my daughter looks at me and just shakes her head. Um, yeah, it's fine. And that's really want to like shout out to my crew. My crew really held me down. They made me feel secure, made me feel safe, even when I was not safe.
Yeah, we got to mention real quick. I feel like it was the key bonding moment for this team of people who didn't know each other really. We met on Zooms, we met on meetings, but when we were surrounded by a pack of wild pit bulls, we bonded seriously, and that was the first night. Yeah, that was the first night.
What?
A pack of wild pit bulls pulled up on us around 9 p.m. that first night. I'm talking about at least 6 on the road, and were actively trying to get at us, like actively.
Your numbers are kind of low, I think, bro.
All right, I'm being conservative because I don't want to oversell it, but it might have been more. Everything happened really fast, but it was a moment that the whole team really came together because we had to. I was on bike accompanying Malcolm while he was running, and quickly hopped off the bike and used that as a barricade between us and these dogs. And luckily our vehicles were close by, so they formed another like kind of barricade. But the dogs were trying to get under the wheels to try to get towards us. And this is where Chev's famous, like Chev is beating him off with a walking stick. And he's telling them to go to bed. Like that's where that line comes from. And it wasn't funny until afterwards when we were safe. We was like, "Yo, Chev, did you really just tell him to go to bed?" And in the moment, it was super tense. But it was like the fire that kind of forged us all together. And from that moment on, I mean, there were just disagreements, but I feel like that really brought us together as a team to be like, yo, it was, life and limb was on the line. Like, let's not even be light about it. But yeah, that was like, after that, we were like, yo, we could do it. We could do anything. Like after that, it was like, all right, cool. We got this.
Life and limb. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and then you also have to tell them that after that we got stopped by police for selling
That was going to
drugs.
be my next question is like, I know that people talk about the dogs, but because you're a solo runner and you're going into these small towns, like, and I also like, yeah, I get there's a lot to be said about these small towns, but what was the experience with the people?
Well, the police came after that, and it was interesting because there were 2 conversations happening. I think one conversation was, "Gemma, are you not getting sex trafficked?" Because that's what he was asking about her. And the other side, we're getting questioned about whether we're selling drugs or not. And Will's like, "We have on headlamps, we have on like reflective vests. What kind of drug dealer are we?"
Like that want to be seen?
Yeah, we want to be seen selling drugs. That's what we want to be.
What?
Yeah, it was a so yeah, I hated this route so much this year.
Because apparently somebody called in to the police saying that there were 2 men in construction vests and meeting a white van, and it looks like they're doing a deal. Was what the officers because the cops, they separate and talk to each other separately. So while they were talking to us, this is the story that for the reason that they pulled up on us. So, and that's what I said. I'm like, if I was doing a deal, I think I wouldn't be wearing a headlamp and reflective vests. So it was, and to the credit, they weren't dicks. They weren't total dicks. But still, just to be in that space and having somebody call in to be like, hey, there's 2, guys in construction vests doing a deal on the side of the road. It just added another, and after we just got almost attacked by dogs. So it's like, we got to fight, so it's like.
Already turned up.
Yeah. But it was just, there were other obstacles that weren't running related that we had to encounter. And, this just happened to be another one of them where luckily, everything was fine and smooth. But like, I was talking about running through spaces that aren't, our own, are not our hood, not our, our streets, so to speak. This is like one of the things that we encountered.
And I mean, but I will say these small towns are very hood in a lot of ways and that's the part that I also think a lot of people don't get too, is that like, I did see a lot of Black folks around, but then there's also a huge correction facility right around in there. So then it's like the culture out there in that specific area where this race is going through, there's an energy around it. And I think one comment that I had in our conversation about TSP, a couple episodes back was just like, I don't know with the people who created it even really kept that in mind when they thought about or even considered what it would be like for runners like us to go through these areas.
But I think that's part also the challenge, I think, is that it's not only about running.
Of course not.
It's not just about the 300 miles, 340 miles. It's negotiating all those different things that you encounter along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Truthfully, I think the dogs are racist. Because our experiences is totally different from other people's experience. Always met some dogs. I don't know if they're like were too kind to people who are people of color running through their little town. Because my experience with these dogs this year was terrible.
I mean, dogs do absorb things. There has been studies on that. I'm just going to say that.
But, and just like, for example, where they even parked the RV with the van, you had to consider, like, do you want to stop here, right? Or do you want to continue? Because, and I think all runners probably do that. Like, think about that in that way. Like, is this safe? Because the police officer did tell us that beyond this point, there's no law here. And
Wow.
So you have people that basically have their own sovereignty in terms of land and law. This is my land, this is my law. And we're running through these spaces. And so you got to be very careful of where you stop and who you encounter.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like even the cops saying that like speaks volumes. Like for me, that and I hearing that secondhand from you even felt more of like a warning and stuff like that more than anything. Like just like to keep your eyes open and be on your P's and Q's. I mean, for us going into this, we were very concerned with interactions with the police. The advice that we got from TSP was like hilarious advice. But to hear that you guys had that interaction, to think about the interaction that one of our runners had and stuff like that, and then even think about my interaction with two white runners from different teams, like they quickly realized that this was not necessarily a rural white space. There were a lot of Black and brown people in those spaces, and their guard was up. And so, I found myself, being friendly in different times. And I especially at night, like I realized I couldn't do that because they were also on high alert for anybody that looked like me. Forget the fact that I hopped out of RV, I'm wearing Aeroloft Nike tights and flip flops. It's just like, oh no, this is a brown man in a place I don't with. Let me stay away from him and stuff like that. And this is not to put like that whole, blanket over the entire race and stuff like that. But it's just when this was created, we were not necessarily thought about. And so I applaud y'all for handling that and not allowing it to like escalate, being able to maneuver through that. Our runners being able to get into these small towns and get out of them because we can't just enjoy ourselves. We also have to be very protective.
I think that's the reason that you need to have a good crew. I mean, because like we were vibing, even when the cops were there, we were just chilled out. It was like, hey, this is what it is. I think just being able to like meet your goal, my goal. So Gemma would laugh at me because anytime I saw a dog, I'd be on like high alert. But my reason is that I'm trying to finish this race. I did not want to end this race because I got bit by a dog. Right? I want to, maybe if I twist my ankle, maybe if I break my leg, but not bit by a dog. do not want to end this race in that way. And so I think just having the right crew, and I felt taken care of. Like when Will, Shed, and Gemma, and Lulu, and Fiona were behind me, that's when I felt the most secure.
Amazing. Well, thank you for sharing, and thank you for just sharing space with us and telling us your story, letting us know more about like you, Will, and Malcolm. I mean, again, Malcolm, I think people are just going to continue to they see you as a legend. Like, I don't know if there's anything you could do about it. Like it's honestly, I mean, you're inspiring, and that's what I just chalk it up as. And having you on this podcast and giving people an opportunity to hear more about your story is going to really inspire people to do what you're doing and keep pushing the needle forward. So thank you you both, honestly. And Will, I have an idea: a gallery of the photos from the experience. I feel like the people need it. Put it on display. What you're creating is very beautiful. Like, I feel like that would just be the icing on top.
Yeah, I received that.
Beautiful. Thank y'all both. I appreciate y'all for coming on too. That was smooth.
Listen, thank y'all for having us on. We appreciate being able to spend time and share with y'all. It was amazing meeting y'all and sharing that space as well. I was happy to see, brown people out there at the pool party. Like it's welcome, and I feel like we're like Malcolm said, we're gonna be back.
Amazing.
Yeah, y'all gotta join me in the pool more though. I was the only brown person.
It was like him and Aaron.
No, it was just me.
Yeah, it was cold though, bro. It was cold, man. I'm not gonna hold you.
Did you not see the weather?
Right, exactly.
I'm not gonna hold you, bro.
I would like to say thank you to like Jet Zappo, who DJ'd for me, gave me some polls. I mean, I appreciate everyone who gave and did something for me during that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I would my heart is really like full with the love that I received. People behind the scenes that no one even knows. So I appreciate everyone that helped me, helped my team, and supported me and the team all throughout.
Beautiful. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Peace.
Thank you. Peace.
Wow.
Good energy. I mean, Malcolm is a legend. Will is beautiful. Like the browning, the blackening of running is in full effect, and I'm here for it. I receive it. Let's continue with this energy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And honestly too, like, I just want to say Malcolm said he wasn't a talker, but I knew once he was going to get on that he had something to say. I knew it. And that is what I love. Cause like, we want to hear from the man. We want to hear from his buddy, and Will was it was a great pairing. And I feel like we have to have Will on again just to hear about like his podcast, his run club and things of that sort, because he, him also being a leader in that way in the community, I think is also really important. But wow, the conversations are it's like we're just racking it up. It's up. It's an upward mobility happening right now.
Let's go. And y'all know what to do. Let us know your thoughts and your feelings on any of our conversations in the comment section, whether it's on Instagram or on YouTube. Follow us on both, like, subscribe, share it, but I don't know about Courtney, but like, I want to engage with y'all more, but like, this is my invitation. Talk to me in the comments. Let me know how you feeling. Let me know what you think, like what you want to hear, what you want us to talk about. You feel like something I said was bullshit, like, let's go. Like, how we feeling? You feel me?
Yeah. And watch out for our Instagram. We'll try to drop a little comment box when we remember to do so that you can put your comments, questions, whatever bits in there, because I think sometimes that's the easiest way. But either way, find us and we'll respond.
All right, well, listen, y'all, we're going to talk to y'all later. Y'all ain't getting too much of us today. We shared the space with Malcolm because we got some
little extra.
to do. So peace.